What is the most extreme example of helicopter parenting that you have ever witnessed? In my first college course there was a 16-year-old in my class and their parents sat through the entire lecture next to them. The professor expressed his concern about her taking up a seat for a student and the mom immediately snapped at him about how she was paying his salary by enrolling her kid there and she deserved respect. Poor kid made no friends in that class. The mom immediately snapped at him about how she was paying his salary by enrolling her kid there and she deserved respect. Except, she's disruptive for the other 20 to 60 students who also paid for the course. My brother had it pretty bad. He ended up being locked in his room for the summer because he went to his high school grad party without permission. He could leave for food or to use the bathroom. He decided frick it and went to college far away. He's doing extremely well for himself now. He's in a fraternity and interning as an actuary. When I was a kid I wasn't allowed to talk on the phone without my mom or grandmother listening in from another phone in the house. If I wanted to send a personal letter they had to read it before it went in the mail. And of course they opened anything that came addressed to me. I also had to write in a diary daily which they were allowed to read. Schoolwork I had to let one of them read before I turned it in and then when it was graded, show them the comments the teacher had made. My mom would even go through my trash and if she found something, a note from a friend, a phone number jotted down on a noticket, etc. she would iron out the paper and make me explain it. For a while, I wasn't allowed any toys that weren't educational. When I was 5 my grandpa bought me a transformer and before I was allowed to play with it he had to make a 2-hour defense to my grandma that the transformer was not only a pretty accurate model of a real military jet, but also a puzzle and having it would foster patriotism and an interest in technology and otherwise improve my mind. In the end I got to keep it. She didn't know it was from a TV show or it would have gone right in the trash. Going to see movies wasn't a matter of hey mom can I have money for a movie. I had to cut an ad for it and a review out of the paper, highlight the parts of the ad and review that made me interested in the film, and present these to an adult at dinner. The adults in the house would then debate the pros and cons of me seeing the movie, and sometimes I would be allowed to go supervised, of course. Jesus Christ, that sounds horrific. Till I was 18 years old, I wasn't allowed to listen to anything other than classical or country music. I wasn't allowed to wear baggy clothes. Think 1997 when baggy jeans were the thing to wear. And I wasn't allowed to wear any style of skater shoes, or any brand name shirts or any band merch. My mother would go through all my stuff when I was at work, snap CDs, cut up shirts and jeans into a load of pieces and throw them away, and replace them with her approved items. 5 days before I turned 18 my girlfriend at the time took me to do my driving test, and my mom cut it up when she heard me on the phone telling my friend that I had passed it. Flash forward to today, I'm 36, moved to England, got married, quite a severe case of misanthropy, no interest in having kids, I'm covered in tattoos, got a great job, and most importantly, an amazing wife who had a completely opposite upbringing but the same outview on everything as I do, also an awesome job. We told the family to mind their own business and got married in Vegas 6 years ago and will live happily ever after with our cats. My best friend in high school, and I kind of helped her dodge her father the best she could. So, I became the crazy, Satanist, lesbian heathen even though I was, none of those things. She wasn't allowed to talk to people not of their religion. She did anyway. She wasn't allowed to own fiction books. I hid them for her. They didn't want her drawing or writing because her imagination was dangerous. We had art parties. God forbid she go to college or get a job because where would they be without her? I smuggled her to a community college to put in an application. Unfortunately, she now lives with her parents still despite the fact she's bordering 28, never finished her degree, has never had a job, and spends most of her time babysitting. We've fallen out of touch because, well, I couldn't keep fighting for her forever. I still worry about her a lot, though. I'd contact her if there was a reliable way to do so. Friend of my sister's. Sister has kids I don't. Mother flew a drone to follow her kids to their neighborhood park the first time they went alone. The real drone parenting. There was a mom who would come to middle school every day at lunch to touch up her daughter's ponytail. She'd tighten it or smooth down flyaways. She'd come back if the girl had anything after school. She also punched a boy at the fall fling because his pumpkin won the pumpkin carving contest. His wasn't the greatest, but he was the most popular kid in school, and it was voted on by students, so obviously, the girl cried, like, huge heaving sobs, and the mom flipped out, running onto the dance floor, and found the boy who won and just started pummeling him for stealing the votes. Parents of a girl I went to school with got arrested because they parked in front her dorm and slept in their van. Then, they would walk with her to classes and sit in the back of the room. Some other students reported that there were people living in the van on campus, like, in the middle of campus, not on some public street, and when security investigated, the dad tried to throw a George Foreman grill at him. It was weird. Please tell me the woman in the first story got arrested. My parents tracked my phone. This even continued in college. Read my texts, emails and social media. Searched my room weekly and sometimes my body. They'd take my door often. I was a straight A student that never did anything wrong before they started that. Started acting out some and developed really bad anorexia because it was the only thing I had control over in my life. My dad was also abusive, but this was their helicopter side. Now I can't wait to move across the country next summer and be far away from them. To clarify, I am not sick anymore. My anorexia went away when I left the house and went to college. Back when I was in Boy Scouts, we had this really weird family in our troop. Let's call the kid Joe for reference. We held game movie nights once a year in the winter for everyone to come to. Joe's parents were homeschooling him, and apparently didn't want him watching and movies rated above PG-13, even though everyone including Joe was 14 or older, and disallowed him from playing any games rated above everyone. We ignored the parent because he was a real crap nugget and brought teen rated games and PG-13 movies, because we wanted it to be fun. The parents flipped crap and yelled at the parents who hosted it, saying that it was inappropriate. He eventually threatened to take us to court and requested that we never spoke to him again. I checked up on Joe last year, and apparently his parents never let him use the internet. This whole fiasco happened in 2008. They also prohibited him from getting his driver's license because they feared him getting into trouble. He was a decent kid though. Too bad his parents were batshit crazy. I hope they will be happy never having a grandchild, or the fact that the kid will never be able to hold a real job ever. Even if they keep him in a tight shell his whole life, eventually they will die and he will be unable to cope in the real world. I had this friend in middle school whose mom never let her do anything. Sometimes on Friday, our school had this fundraiser where you paid $2 to be allowed to wear a t-shirt instead of the usual polo shirt. On one of those days, my friend had woken up early to straighten her hair so she could look cute while wearing her t-shirt, but then her mom told her she could either have straight hair or wear a t-shirt. The fight that ensued led to her mom spraying her hair with water and not giving her money for the fundraiser. This other time, my friend arrived at school wearing her band polo and some orange sneakers, and told me that she got in a fight with her mom that day over the shoes. Her mom told her to change them, but my friend was about to miss the bus, so she logically said she had no time. Her mom then told her she was going to wear that same shirt every day as punishment for being disobedient. And true to her word, every afternoon my friend would get home, her mom would wash the band polo, and my friend would show up the next day wearing it again. She started wearing colorful jackets every day to hide it. That's more abuse than helicopter parenting. A job applicant came to interview for an open position. During the normal discussion and vetting, it started to look like this person wasn't very driven, proactive, or maybe even really qualified. This point was driven home when he asked how much longer the interview was going to last. We asked why. His response: "My dad drove me here and is waiting outside to take me home." This was for a professional position, requiring a 4-year degree that takes on average 5+ years to acquire, and some years experience working in the field. We dismissed the candidate. Afterward, it became clear that dad had likely authored the resume also. A friend of mine's parents were so obsessed with the fact that their kid should be saving money that they routinely confiscated every penny on his banking account onto a savings account. The poor guy worked every Wednesday and Saturday to get some money to do fun things with his friends. But when he went to pay, his card would get rejected, and it'd turn out his parents had moved every penny he'd worked hard for to a separate account he couldn't access. When he turned 18 he spoke with the bank and revoked his parents their access to any and all banking related to him. I have actually been sitting on this story until I found an Ask Reddit for it. So I worked as a lifeguard for 4 years, and during my final year lifeguarding I saw her, the helicopter mom of the year. Her kids was like 4 and actually a very good swimmer for his age. The mom wouldn't get in their pool, but she made very sure to stand at the edge giving him orders and micromanaging his actions as he played with other kids. She has been making the poor kid check in with her almost minutely, even though he was never really more than 10 feet from her as she followed him around. Well, after a while of this kid getting harassed by his mother, he's had it. This 4-year-old boy swims at 10 get back to his mother because she wanted to make sure he was alright, and tells her mom, "Shut up, you make me want to not be alive anymore." This was the funniest crap he's ever heard a child say, and it very well might never get topped. The mom started crying and put him on timeout so she could helicopter him more, but that little kid was G. What's sad is he felt that way because of her craziness. Girlfriend's father was terrible. In addition to being emotionally abusive, he demanded to know every detail of where she was going, who with, and when she would get there. He basically said she was a child who couldn't do anything on her own and needed him to whip her into shape because that's what his parents did to him. He was also a Bible thumper when it benefited him and his strict rules. My girlfriend got kicked out on her 18th birthday without so much as a call your mother to pick you up. She had 5 minutes to pack as much as she could in a trash bag and get out. I got a call at 12:30 at night from her and had to go pick her up. Years of abuse had taken a major toll on her. She had major self-esteem issues and body issues, and some health issues that the doctor said were stress related. She had major trust issues with men because of her father-approved boyfriends who would fake love until they slept with her, then leave her. I was the first guy she ever really trusted and the first she told any of this to. She lives with her mom now and is doing much better. She's even going to college now for social services because she doesn't want anyone else to suffer like she did. We're currently looking for a place together and I'll be proposing next September on our anniversary if everything keeps going like it has been. I'm excited. I know helicopter parenting is funny from afar, but my mom was a helicopter parent. She controlled who my friends were, what sports I played, and even the classes I took in high school. For anyone dealing with a helicopter parent, that requires absolute control, that praises you for your successes, much more than warranted, but punishes you for shortcomings, also more than warranted. Please cut them out of your life. A personality disorder develops because of this. It is most prevalent in males, but can also be in females. When you're a child and your primary caregiver causes your emotions to constantly go from love, warmth, and trust to guilt, hate, and worthlessness, which are all constantly present emotions with a helicopter parent, you don't develop emotional trust, which in my mind is the most important human aspect. When this happens to a child, a quite clever thought process takes place. If I can't feel, I can't get hurt. A child suppresses their emotions and chooses not to experience them. As someone who took this route, it doesn't give you happiness. It gives you nothing. I constantly experience emotions, but on the inside, I despise people for showing theirs, but I'm truly jealous instead. I can't hold relationships or friendships. I'm 21. It took me 4 years of my life to get to the root of my problem and it's going to take me even longer to get better. If you're someone who has experienced the unfortunate psychological abuse of helicopter parenting, remember, everything you learn, you can unlearn. It just takes more effort. Start reinforcing your behavior that you enjoy about yourself and stop focusing on the bad. Your parent focused on the bad and only what they considered to be good. It is your turn to live. Can confirm. Dead on the inside. Not exactly helicopter parenting, but would guilt trip me over the slightest of problems and take away toys, video games, time with friends, whatever I was into at the time. If I don't have an emotional attachment to something, they can't take it away from me. My college roommate, I lived with him junior and senior year, so from when he was 21-23, it was his first time living away from home, but not really, since he was from the same town that campus was in. Every week, at least once, up to 3 times per week, he'd go home for dinner because his mom made him. During this time she would grill him about homework and grades, as if he was still in high school or something, and ask why he wasn't going on any dates or bringing home any nice girls. She is why he wasn't bringing home any nice girls. We went on a baseball road trip once, and even though my car was much younger and had no issues, and like his troublesome car, she insisted that he couldn't go if it wasn't in his car. So since he was doing the driving, he couldn't text obviously, so he decided to give my number to his mother to give updates. We were driving back from Detroit to Buffalo, so we drove through Canada, so we had to turn off our phones. And when I turned my phone back on, I had a ton of messages asking me if her son was alright doing all the driving, especially in a foreign country, and she wanted to know why it took so long to cross the Canadian section of our drive. She wasn't even my mother, but she helicopter parented me. I was homeschooled from the 2nd grade to the 10th grade due to difficulties with crappy teachers. Wasn't allowed to wear tight-fitting clothes. Everything had to be a size or two too big because mom didn't want me profiling. I couldn't be at friends' houses or parties without my mother being there. Couldn't listen to anything other than gospel music and Disney songs. Yes, even well into my teens. Mom explicitly banned non-gospel music on Sundays, not even allowing me to have my iPod on the way to church. No physical ed. Mom bought some Christian girl talk book, but grounded me for a month when she caught me flipping through it without her consent. If I were going to hang out with a friend, mom had to know who would be there, where we were going, and what we were doing, even to the point of asking for people's numbers. She only really ever let me hang out alone with one person. Ironically, the one person was the one who helped me sneak around to hang out with other people. Wasn't allowed to watch movies above PG. Watch anything with magic or witchcraft, aside from Disney movies because frick if I know. Or play video games outside of like Legend of Zelda. I also wasn't allowed to be on the internet half the time since we had dial-up. No fricking. I came home from college and mom about shat herself when she found my depot shot reminder that had fallen out of my purse. No pills or therapists. My parents let me see a therapist and start taking Prozac since I was 23 and they were legally unable to stop me, but they let me know just about every week how much they're not okay with it. I'm supposed to be praying the depression away, damn it. Inviting themselves to my therapy appointments, as in, calling me at 8 PM the night before, long after the office has closed, to tell me they're coming with me to my appointment, which also fricks up my therapist's schedule. Constantly berating me about my spending habits. I know I have a crappy handle on spending. I'm currently attempting to budget, and I do not need to drive down to the house 45 minutes out of my way to be lectured about it. Whenever they have some kind of beef with me, they won't tell me what it is. All I get is, you need to come to the house tomorrow. I'm not in the mood to talk about it right now, if I even as for so much as a preview of what's going on. After spamming the heck out of my phone with calls, I'm not allowed to be angry with them or anything. If I express any kind of objection, it's talking back or being a smart aleck. I speak in a very monotone voice when I'm around them, because I don't feel like being snapped at to watch my mouth if I offer any kind of inflection. Basically my life. I'm still moved out, but they still tend to act as if I'm still living with them. My sister is an RA dorm supervisor at a university and was called by the parent of one of her residents because their room was too cold. I assume the resident was just complaining to her mom, I'm always cold or something. But get it together people. I was a senior RA last year. I enjoyed dealing with parents. Your son daughter can talk to me, but I can't talk to you. Have a nice day. She wouldn't let her kid turn on Street Pass on his 3DS because apparently that's how child predators catch kids, despite the fact that the online interaction is limited to receiving a bad 3D model and single censored sentence. Also, she told my parents that they were idiots for letting me pursue a degree in language, which was pretty awkward considering my dad got his PhD in French. My ex-girlfriend. When we first started dating, her mom would call and text her every 15 minutes to see what we were doing. If she didn't answer immediately, she'd text me to see what we were doing. We went swimming once and she had to leave the pool every 10 minutes to text her mom. Her parents were almost inconsolably crying the week leading up to her 18th birthday. Her mom had told me she didn't plan on letting her move out until her late 20s, and when she did move out she'd have to call every day and visit her 5 times a week. My GF had been bullied severely in high school and her parents were more than happy to let her drop out so she could be at home more. When I encouraged her to get her GED and helped her study, her parents were upset because getting her GED meant she might be able to go to college and move out. She did pass her GED. Her parents cleaned up after her, made all her meals, and religiously tracked her money even after she turned 18. They made sure she couldn't do basic household tasks like laundry so that she couldn't move out. Once at my house we were watching a movie and neither had our phone on us. Her mom showed up at my house to check on us. They even monitored her food. She'd get her steak well done and I once had her try it medium rare to see if she liked it. She did, but her parents scolded her for it. I ended things with her because although I loved her I couldn't handle her parents and just couldn't ever see myself married to her in the future with parents like that. Parents coming to do their kids' laundry at college. The kid will be sitting in the lounge area and mommy will be hard at work in the laundry room. You are 19. Learn to wash your own socks. My university's subreddit had a future student's parent posting questions about the college, campus, and dorms, etc. The real student, coming to school next year, made a post calling the parent out for being a helicopter. Those usernames: Row. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.